Diogo Jota was 28 years old. In the summer of 2025, he helped Portugal beat Spain to win the Nations League, the best squad they had built in 20 years. 6th in the world, a midfield nobody in the tournament could live with, and then weeks later, he was gone. So this is not a story about one nation chasing a trophy it has never won. It is a story about a team that arrives at this World Cup carrying something heavier than history. Rewind. Portugal have always produced more than a country their size has any right to. 10 million people, one of the deepest pools of footballing talent on the planet. For decades, that was the paradox at the heart of the Seleção, a nation that made geniuses and never quite knew what to do with them. They reached the World Cup for the first time in 1966 and finished third on their debut, dragged there almost single-handedly by Eusebio. Then they vanished. 20 years before they qualified again. A golden generation in the early 2000s, Figo, Rui Costa, Deco, that reached a semi-final and came home with nothing. The pattern was always the same. Brilliant, watchable, and when it mattered most, just short. Then in 2016, they finally broke through and won the European Championship, their first major trophy ever. 2 Nations League titles followed. The talent had finally turned into silverware. But look closely at that trophy cabinet and you notice something. Every single honour is continental, European. The one stage they have never conquered is the biggest one of all, and the man they have leaned on for 2 decades is running out of tournaments to try. Here is the strange part. The qualifying campaign was the least important thing that happened to this team. Portugal won their group. 4 wins, a draw, and 1 bad night. They scored 20 goals and finished it the way they started everything that year, with a statement. 9-1 against Armenia in the final match. Hat-tricks for Bruno Fernandes and João Neves. A scoreline that flattered nobody but themselves. But there were cracks. A 2-0 defeat in Ireland, a night where nothing worked and Cristiano Ronaldo was sent off. Then somehow escaped the ban that should have followed. A scrappy 1-0 at home, settled by a stoppage time header. For a team this good, it was not always convincing. Because the campaign that actually defined this side had happened months earlier. The Nations League final, June 2025. Portugal against Spain. The team that had knocked them out on penalties before. The team nobody beats twice, and this time Portugal didn't blink. They beat the world's best side in a final. It was the proof Roberto Martinez needed, that this squad, so often accused of going soft when the lights were brightest, could win the biggest night of all. Diogo Jota was part of that team. He had just won the Premier League with Liverpool. He had just got married. 28 years old, at the peak of everything. In July of 2025, Portugal lost him, and his brother André far too soon. What followed was not the language of football. A nation stopped, his teammates carried his coffin, and every plan this team had made for the next 12 months was now being made in his absence. How do you walk back out and play a World Cup when the squad that earned the right to dream is no longer whole? Start with the engine, because this is where the new Portugal actually lives. Vitinha controls games the way few players in the world can. Small, relentless, always available. The Paris Saint-Germain midfielder grew into one of the best on the planet after winning the Champions League. And he is the metronome everything else moves to. If Portugal win this tournament, it begins in his feet. Beside him, João Neves, 20 years old, fearless, the hat-trick man from that night against Armenia. And ahead of them, Bruno Fernandes, the captain of Manchester United in the form of his life, the one who turns control into goals. This is a midfield that doesn't just compete, it dictates. Then there is the name you already came here for. Cristiano Ronaldo arrives at 41 years old at his 6th and final World Cup. He has won the Champions League, the European Championship, the Ballon d'Or 5 times. He has scored more international goals than any man in history. There is one trophy and only one he has never lifted. This is his last chance to lift it, but here is the truth the highlight reels won't tell you. This is no longer a team that runs through Ronaldo. It is a team that plays around him. The story of these next few weeks is whether the greatest goal scorer who ever lived can serve a side that may now be better without leaning on him, and whether his hunger is the thing that finally drags them over the line, or the weight that keeps pulling them back to it. because there is a line they cannot seem to cross. And we need to talk about where it is. On paper, the group is kind. Portugal landed in Group K alongside DR Congo, Uzbekistan and Colombia. Two of those they should handle. DR Congo are dangerous and physical, with real Premier League quality in their ranks, but Portugal have too much. Uzbekistan, at their first ever World Cup, will be brave and overmatched. Colombia are the test. A genuine South American side with pace and flair. The one team in this group, Portugal, top the group and walk an easier road, slip, and the bracket turns hostile fast. And that is where the ghost of this team lives. Because Portugal's problem has never been the group stage. It is the moment after they have gone out at the quarter-final of the last two major tournaments they entered. And the last time they did it at a World Cup in 2022, it was a 1-0 defeat to Morocco. Ronaldo on the bench, a golden generation sent home by a team nobody expected. The wall always seems to arrive in the last 8. For a squad this deep, anything short of a semi-final is failure. They know it. The question is whether knowing it helps. So here is what this World Cup actually is for Portugal. It is not a farewell tour. It is a team at the absolute peak of its powers, with the talent to win the whole thing, walking out under a weight that no amount of talent prepares you for. A nation that has waited 90 years, a legend chasing the one prize that has escaped. Portugal finally break the wall this summer. It will be the most complete story in the tournament, and the most emotional. And if they fall short again at that same quarter-final stage, it will be the cruelest. Either way, this is the one team at this World Cup you will not be able to look away from. We will be following every step of their run, so if you want the full story as it unfolds, subscribe and stay with us. Because however this ends, it is going to mean far more than football.